So here's Sunman. Sunman is an NES game, but it was never actually released. It was cancelled. You can see on the title screen that it was meant to be released in 1992 by Sunsoft, but this did not happen. Sunman was developed by EIM, which was Kenji Ino's developer house before Warp. They were making it for Sunsoft, and this was actually intended to be a Superman game. You may remember that Sunsoft had the Batman license back then. They made a few Batman games, the original NES one being very well known and remembered. So they were going for Superman as well. But apparently during the development they lost the license, so they changed it to Sunman. But for whatever reason they decided not to release it. Now, this is an unreleased ROM, so as far as I know, it's feature complete, but it's pretty clear that EIM did not get to the stage where they were going to polish up the game before release, and it really does show. It's a pretty rough game, even if it is complete. We're going to start off Sunman. We gotta defeat all enemies in Megaro City. Here we're changing into Sunman. There we are. Now here we are. We're Sunman. Sunman looks around. He hears someone calling for help. Alright, Sunman is gonna go, you know, when he's ready. When Sunman's good and ready, that's when he'll go. You can't make Sunman move. Alright, now we're gonna move. Oh, Sunman's out of here! Sunman is not here to get his costume dirty. It's an expensive costume. You wouldn't believe how much it costs to get this thing cleaned. Sunman, it doesn't matter, because Sunman can just fly over all of the enemies, except when there's a wall, and we have to stop flying. Well, that's okay. Sunman's okay. We're gonna punch through this wall. That's what Sunman does. He has the strength of a sun. And as we all know, nothing is better at punching through walls than a sun. Sunman is not invincible. You would think that having the power of the sun, he would be, but no, he is not. But we can fly everywhere without having to worry about there being some kind of flight meter that might go down and stop us from flying, so that's neat. I kind of like that about Sunman. Sunman can just fly forever. And you know, that's what I kind of think you have to do with a Superman game. I mean, you have to take it a further level than Sunman, but I think that if you were going to try to make a Superman game, you would have to make it... Oh! Sunman comes back to life. Sunman is immortal. You would have to try to make a Superman game where he can use all his powers with no limitations, and just try to make the, you know, the obstacles that he faces that big and bad that he has to use all of his powers. Sunman has no qualms about flying everywhere he needs to. He also has no qualms about just, you know, avoiding these... Oh! He has no qualms about pausing the game even though I didn't press start. And that's another thing that happens in Sunman. I mentioned that the game is a little bit rough. That's an example of that. The game just pauses randomly. I don't know why. It does. But Sunman, it doesn't bother him. Sunman is just having a relaxing day, flying around in the clear blue skies, trying to avoid missiles. Sometimes he can't. He can punch, you know. But that's all Sunman can really do for right now. But it's okay that Sunman did not defeat any of the enemies, that they're still around to terrorize the city. Because now Sunman is going up against a helicopter, and he's going to use his sun vision to shoot the helicopter. I don't know if the helicopter has anything to do with the villain who's trying to take over the world. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it's just a military helicopter. Maybe Sunman's hobby is just, you know, shooting down aircraft. And the mayor keeps telling Sunman, no, stop that, Sunman. Sunman, you're a menace. But what are you going to do against... What are you going to do? Tell Sunman to stop? No, you're not going to tell Sunman to stop. Look, Sunman is destroying this military helicopter whether you want him to or not. And he's going to pause the game whether I press start or not. That's just how Sunman is. Yeah, this game does not control well. It does not feel good. That's not to say that it... Okay, Sunman has destroyed the military helicopter. It's not to say that this game wouldn't have been good if it was completed. There he is. Great! Sunman! You did a great job. Now let's go to the Grand Canyon and destroy things. Yes, Sunman will do. Sunman gets around. He doesn't just stick around in Meguro City, you know. He has places to see. Winged laser-shooting enemies to dodge. I don't have my heat vision anymore. My sun vision. I just have punches. But like I was saying, it's not to say that this would have been a bad game if there's a UFO. It's not to say that this would have been a bad game if it was completed. I can see how it would have been good. Right now, though, even though you can play through the game, it's pretty clear... And no, stop pausing the game, Sunman! It's pretty clear that this had a lot of polishing to go. So... And I'm not really sure why they wouldn't have released it. I mean, if the game was pretty much done, they just needed to tune up the graphics on level 3 and all. Seems like would have been worthwhile to just keep going with it, right? I mean, if worse comes to worse, it bombs. If it does well, then hey, Sunsoft has its own hero, right? Might as well give it a shot. I mean, really, the game does allow for a lot of mobility for an NES game. A lot of NES games were very restrictive in how you could move around, but Sunman just lets you fly everywhere. I assume these Spectre threatens. I'm going to continue because I can't let Spectre threaten. What? I did not press no. I'm pretty sure I just pressed start. And it went to no. I assume those big crystals were kryptonite. What would they be called in the Sunman universe? I don't know. I'm pretty sure that's what those were supposed to be. Well, in any case, maybe that's enough for Sunman. And this was a game that was supposed to be released on the NES in 1992. Wasn't. But you can get it. You can just get it and play it if you want. Put yourself in Sunman's mask and cape. One of the games Kenji Eno was working on in the early 90s.